So we're going to go ahead and get started. Today we're going to continue developing in Revit. And this one's kind of called customizing existing components. Or just customizing, period.
Yeah, and what we're going to do is we're just going to take some of those elements we placed in the last project and just take them and then expand on them a lot more. So we changed some of the materials. We're going to add in some more components like people or our chairs and stuff like that. We're going to edit our ceilings, our walls, our floors. We're going to do some ceilings, some curtain panels, editing some curtain wall systems. We're also going to do some railings and some stairs. So, but mainly it's just customizing what we already have and just making it look a whole lot better. So this is that step you take in the developing phase, so you don't have all that out of the box stuff that professors hate so much.
Yeah,
that looks all generic and stuff like that.
This session and Thursday's session is really about getting away from generic and making everything your own. So up until now, we've basically done, 50-50 stuff out of the box and architecture stuff. It all had an architecture twist, but everybody that uses Revit kind of knows this stuff. How they use it's different, but they still know the same implementations and things we're doing. But with today and Thursday especially, it's how to make this project, your own project, not just random Revit stuff that all the teachers seem to hate. Yeah, I said teachers, professors seem to hate. So
maybe it's just our professors, but
yeah, maybe it's just us. Who cares? All right, so you're gonna see this file is a little bit different than the one last time, and the reason it's a little bit different is because the other file we have to hide so much stuff to show you simple things that it kind of wastes time. Every time we do a webinar, we end up wasting 5 or 10 minutes just randomly clicking on stuff trying to get things set up, and we don't really want to waste any time tonight.
Yeah, we're trying to bring it down to its essentials, just your generic wall, your generic roof, your generic scene, and then we'll take and edit those to make them a lot more unique instead of starting with an already crazy building and then making it even crazier. Which is what we expect you to do, but that's not what we're...
So, we still have the same kind of components and stuff in that we did in the large project. We still have generic walls, generic doors, generic everything, generic railings, generic ceilings. Every last thing is still generic, so there's no big deal with that. So the first thing we really want to do is start by placing some entourage, people, chairs, basically any family. Anytime we say family from now on, that's what we're referring to, basically. So the way I would do that is start with level 1 in your project browser, or whatever level you're trying to put it on. In ours, it's level 1. So basically, it's what we're looking at today. Let me show you. Basically, what we're looking at, if I hide all this stuff real quick, is we're looking at a double height space. Floor, there's a ceiling below it, there's another ceiling up here. Don't worry about all this, doesn't really matter right now. You could tell it to attach. We're looking at storefront walls, generic walls, a stair going up to the lofted space. Kind of generic, maybe residential, could be commercial.
Generic railing.
Yeah, generic, it's all generic. Generic. But now let's add in some, let's start with the more common families, like regular floor-based families. You're going to get a PowerPoint about this too, so...
And we'll go into actually editing and customizing your own families later. Yeah, but first let's just show how to actually place the ones that are already created for you.
Yeah, that's Thursday. We're going to tear apart all these families and make them sweet.
And make those even more unique as well.
So if we go to level 1, how I'd be looking at this project right now, if it was residential or something, is maybe this bottom space, the front was maybe a living room, and maybe the back was a kitchen, just for now. So let's kind of set it up as such. So what we need to do is go to the Home tab to place components. We need to go to Component. We need to say Place a Component.
Any family that's not, say a wall or a window or a door, are all going to be under this category of just components. So generic sort of objects that you want to place as entourage or stuff like that in your scenes will be under this category.
Yeah, a component's basically furniture. Or accessory materials or accessory objects.
Even lights will be under this category as well.
Yeah, lights could have its own category. It'd be kind of sweet if it did, but it doesn't.
No, it's
so that's what I'm going to show you is right now when we go to components is there's components already loaded in, kind of weird that some of these are actually loaded in, but you can see what's in here. You know,
It
desks,
comes with one random desk.
parking spaces, trees already loaded because we placed some just a while ago when we were setting this file up.
I think the generic template for Revit comes with like this random desk and
Yeah.
and some parking spaces and then trees, which is kind of weird, but
I mean, the desk is garbage.
that's how it comes with. That comes with those just generic families.
This is like maybe a 1995 metal desk with a wood top. Like I don't know where you would use that. It's not sexy. Nobody should use that in a project. So we're going to load a family. So right up here at the top right, we're going to click load family. And here's basically everything that comes with Revit. Like a lot of people don't think Revit has substantial family databases already.
But it
This is what comes with Revit, and then we're going to show you 3 places that you can get components. So this is the Imperial Library. This is the one that's preloaded with every single copy of Revit you get. If you're a subscriber to Revit, you actually get more. Students get a little bit more limited version. And you can see everything. I mean, casework, columns, doors. You know, here's the entourage. That's where people are going to be. There's furniture. Furniture systems is basically complex furniture components is all it is. It's furniture systems. You can be like drawing a line and tell the component to sweep a line, like cabinets. I mean, everything's in here. Mechanical equipment. If you open like Revit MEP or Revit Structure, there's completely different family libraries in those. You can also load some of those into this. In terms of furniture, there's not any new ones in MEP or Structure, but you might have a structural component you want to take out of the structure one and put in. We're not going to show that because it's kind of far and few between. But
and this is also the main database, so it has all the windows, doors. Those aren't really in the component category, but what it does is it brings you to this sort of main library of all the components that Revit uses. So annotations, dimension lines, all that stuff is all right here. Now what you'll want is probably, you know, the furniture, not necessarily a door or anything like that, but it'll just bring you to that main interface.
I mean, some of them are pretty nice. Bunk bed's terrible. I mean, this box bed's pretty sweet. I'd sleep in it.
It could be nice, you know.
You know, shaker bed, that's a standard bed, whatever. The standard bed actually looks sexier than a shaker bed. Hospital bed, yeah, put that in the house, sweet.
Sure, why not?
They randomly have a Corbu chair, not sure why.
Nice, but which everyone uses that chair because
this is the one everybody uses.
it's the only halfway decent chair.
If you have a chair in Revit and you don't really know how to use Revit, everybody places their Corbu chair. I don't know why, and then every professor seems to point it out.
It's like, is that a Corbu chair in your house?
If you're gonna place chairs and stuff, that you're better off going to these sites we're about to show you.
Or the generic one.
So I'm just gonna pop up 3 sites, and yeah, you did see ours, but okay, the first one and the biggest one is the Autodesk Seek library. This is the one that's joined with Revit. You can get anything from here. I mean, if you start looking at the quick links, I mean, you're looking at 782 windows, almost 1,200 doors, 329 curtain wall systems, 490 louvers. Like, there's a huge amount of components and systems inside this database, and it's huge. And anybody that has Revit can use Autodesk Seek. It's not a paid thing. It's free. Everybody needs to sign up for it, I would say. On this front page, it shows featured content, and it's what's really weird is we opened it up a while ago, and I actually modeled this chair.
Funny.
And it's on the featured content now for some reason.
Yeah, it's a pretty sweet chair. So you can download that.
It's a sweet chair because it's hard to do. Like it's a completely molded plastic chair, and you can't do that in Revit.
It's not a generic, boxy chair. It's a pretty nice.
Yeah, but I modeled that chair like a year ago, and it's weird to see it up. But yeah, I did that and about 160 other components in this library.
Yeah. So basically, what happens is manufacturers will submit products to Autodesk to place on their Autodesk Seek so that firms can use their products and then specify them in their construction documents.
Yeah, it's like advertising for the company.
Yeah.
Like Lumens Light Fixtures makes really sweet lights. Alco is like a Philips-based company that creates really sweet lights, and I've modeled components for both of those. And the model that we create actually allows you to go inside the properties and be able to link directly back to that site's home page and its ordering page, so that when people are looking at something, they go, wow, we really do want those chairs. They can click it in Revit, and it takes them to the ordering dialog inside the company's profile. So it's really sweet. But how you do this, you would find what you want. So say if we want this chair, we would actually just click what we want it You have to click. You have to click the little check mark.
Check it or you won't download
Yeah, or it won't download it, and then say download selected. I don't really want to go through downloading it, but it'll download it wherever you say, just like a regular download file, and then you can choose to throw that in the Imperial Library folder. That way it loads every time. Or what I do is keep it in a completely separate folder. That way if something happens to crap out with Revit, you still have all the hundreds of files you've downloaded.
Yeah, your secondary downloaded families.
So, because it will, if you have to reinstall Revit, it'll delete all the stuff you've put in the Imperial database. So I literally upstairs have hundreds and hundreds of downloaded files that I've worked on.
Keep a separate folder and put them all in there.
And you can also choose to load that folder. I don't ever do it because there's no point in loading that folder.
You can add it to just one of the lists too.
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
But yeah, that's Autodesk Seek, and that's probably the best.
That's probably the best quality families as well.
Yeah, that's families that can do basically anything.
They can change in size.
Yeah, they can change in size, color, everything. It's sweet. The next one though, which is a little bit more freeform, I won't say cruddier, but lower quality. But the difference with Revit City is that you get some really unique components that Autodesk Seek doesn't allow. So Autodesk Seek is only products that are in the real world.
Manufacturer submitted products.
Yeah, so Revit City is anything anyone creates. They can submit it to Revit City and have it approved, and then you can go in and download other people's work. So,
which also means somebody can make a horrible family and then upload it here, and you download it, and then it doesn't work or something like that as well. So
right.
So it has its positives and negatives, but I mean sometimes you can find really unique, and different stuff on this website as well.
So I mean, it's just like Autodesk Seek. It has a huge library. It has a huge amount of members. I mean, you're looking at almost 200,000 members probably by the end of this year.
It's got about 10,000 families too, right there. It says objects. Yeah. How many there is. So
Autodesk Seek is looking at more like 50,000 families right now, 40,000, and they're looking to double that in the next 2 years. And the company I work with right now is one of only 2 companies in the world that are developing content for Autodesk Seek. So really neat. Some stuff is really custom. You'll never find it.
Some stuff is crappy.
And I would say 70% of the time it's crappy.
Yeah,
60% of the time it's crappy because it doesn't contain parameters. It just contains a one-off object. But if you want that one-off object, sure thing, do it. Like this is a crazy sink. I can already tell you it's got problems just looking at the picture he submitted. It's not going to flex. It's not going to do anything. It's going to be that sink at that height, and that's all you're going to be able to create.
Size.
So what you look at is what you get.
Yeah.
And then the last one, which is our website, we're actually going to start providing content for anything we feel is architecturally necessary. So if a new program rolls along like Bentley starts to take off in America, we're going to put Bentley products up here because we need to give every architecture student the ability to do whatever he or she needs to do with their project. So I mean, we have Adobe Photoshop stuff. There's not much. This is basically, I could see freshmen using this, second year students using this because they're not too efficient with Photoshop. So we create the documents. Most of these are actually all the Photoshop stuff right now is being done by John Ferris. So he created both of these. They're actually really sweet. We tell you what's going on, editable colors. It's a double click and change the color. It's really easy. Right and left column placement, he did it to where you can mirror it back and forth. That way it's really fast. There's placeholders for all your text already in there. And then we give you crazy amounts of template sizes.
Qualities.
Like 11 by 17, you get 150 DPI or 300 depending on how you're working. We are going to roll out some 24 by 24s, stuff like that. By the end of this, I may even use some of the 11 by 17s as a starting place because I hate when teachers say, all right, use 11 by 17. It's kind of awkward to lay out. And so if you have some kind of quick starting place, you can actually save yourself 20 or 30 minutes. And then the other one, which I have a lot of stuff right now sitting on my desktop computer upstairs that we're trying to throw into this, but we're trying to think of a category system too because this is going to get really monotonous really fast. Basically right now we have, it seems like one of each type of component that people kind of fuss about, like lights. There's not really any gorgeous lights that you can download, so got some pretty sweet lights that I'm modeling. This one was just one I put up as a test. You know, some more generic stuff like a chair. Modern work cubicles, because right now there's not really a modern work cubicle that you can download. They're kind of all boring and crappy. And then we're really starting to develop like doors, because doors are just non-existent on Revit City or Autodesk Seek. There's not really any good doors. They're all standard doors, and I don't want that. Nobody wants that, really. So there you have it, the two really huge ones. And then I'm wanting to get our content library up to the thousands, you know, in the next year or so. I mean, that'd be sweet. And if anybody has any suggestions about it,
what families they would like to see or something.
Yeah, we're gonna have it where you can throw it in the forum. You know, like, oh, well, I was looking at a picture of this. Is there any way y'all could create something like this? And you know, if I got time, yeah, definitely.
And we're even going to go over how to edit families and create your own custom family in these different sessions. So just in the next class, we'll go over that too.
That's another thing is if y'all start creating families after, I'm going to go into a really slam-on session of families Thursday, so you should be able to create things that you need. You can send them to me or Jeremy, and we're only going to keep really high-quality families, but if your family's nice and we can just tweak some of the things around and then put it on the website, we will, and then we'll give complete credit to you, which is kind of something that Revit City and Seek don't do. Like, you won't see my name on any of those Seek components, even though I did them.
Revit will if you search for it.
Revit City is your username most of the time that's associated with it. So if you have a generic name like me, Adam Thomas, you'll never really know that that was my stuff. It could be one of the 100 Adam Thomases putting stuff in there. But I'm gonna start by just showing you how to place components. Now we're not gonna download any. These are gonna be like placeholders almost.
Put like a bed in there.
And
maybe like a table and some chairs.
I'm gonna start with the living room and load a chair in. You see it came in automatically. And you know, if I want to make this general area right here a living room, something like that, the thing I like to do now is do rotate after placement. That way, as soon as I click it in, I can actually tell it where to go. That's really nice to go ahead and rotate the chair into place.
You can also hit the space bar and it'll flip it 90 degrees for you before you place it. If you hit the space bar.
So if we hit space bar 90 degrees, rotate it around.
Before you place it, you can hit space bar as well.
That's pretty sweet.
So
even though I said Corbu chairs, everybody uses them. I'm gonna go ahead and use them because it's the nicest chair. And I'm just gonna kind of throw in some more stuff.
Put a table in there.
Load family again. Let's go back to furniture. Let's see if there's a couch, a sofa we like. There's really only one sofa that looks good. This one looks like it might be in a Holiday Inn from 1980. And then you have this one, which I've actually used a lot. I just edit it real quick. I mean, you can do 5 minutes of family editing and create really nice stuff.
Custom was completely custom, even though it's really based off of a template. Was what we'll show.
So yeah, I went in and
Next,
you know, plopped in chairs. I'm just gonna nudge these around. The space is actually way too big. But
it's a massive house. It's also got a generic.
Yeah, who cares? So we're gonna go back to the component. Let's see what other kind of things we have.
The table in there.
Just real quick, we got a coffee table. Another thing we're gonna show is like, see, these are all full-length tables, but nothing's to say that that table is a standard like dining room table. We can go in and chop the legs down and make that a coffee table in literally 45 seconds.
Or cut out the center and make it glass.
Yeah, I mean, you could backlit the whole thing or backlight the whole top if you wanted to. Really simple stuff.
I'm just make yours look unique.
Yeah,
versus out of the box.
That's what we're trying to get to Thursday, is making all these families that we're placing look unique. But today we're really focusing on
the other stuff like walls and floors.
Yeah. Now the thing with this coffee table, this is the first component we've loaded that you can actually have a drop down on it, and it's got different sizes already pre-made. And the cool thing about 2011 is it actually shows you a preview of all these. It used to not do that. It used to not show you a preview with the component. It used to just be words, and you didn't really know what it looked like. But maybe we don't want a square coffee table, but maybe this nice rectangular one will be sweet, or nice enough for now. All right, so
lost in the space.
it's really bothering me that this is right here, so I'm gonna move it all. There we go. All right, smaller area, sweet.
There we go.
That was just bugging me a little bit. All right, so let's say,
Put like a bed in there, something.
let's say, back in here, maybe there's a bed and this was a bathroom or something.
Yeah, a wall in there. What was the bathroom?
Yeah, there should be 2 bathrooms down here is what we were looking at. So generic, I'm gonna tell it to be 10 feet because I already know it. I don't want it to go up to the second level, or I could tell it to be top constraint level 2, and I'm gonna draw in an area right here because we actually did want a bathroom and then maybe 2 rooms, like an office and a bedroom, and this bathroom is shared between these 2 or something weird. So back to component, just like we did before, place a component, load family, and all these families stay in. It's not like you click them in and they disappear.
Yeah, once you load it, it's in the project forever.
And if you load too many of them, Revit will slow way down because it's managing all this content at the same exact time.
Which you're not even using, so.
Yeah, you're not using it, so why is it there? I'm gonna throw this box bed in because that's the one I like. All right, box bed. Weird. That's a big space. Let's do this one instead. I'm gonna put it on the center of this wall. I mean, this is all really generic stuff right now. We've probably actually placed way too much stuff for now. But
Put a toilet in there.
hey, you gonna put a toilet in the bathroom?
Yeah,
Let's
just
put a
like
toilet
those
in the
in the
bathroom.
restroom.
Oh, load family. All right.
So that would be a plumbing fixture.
Yeah, plumbing fixture. You kind of got to think. Plumbing fixture is actually, I originally thought it was talking about plumbing components. Completely different.
Yeah, like pipes and stuff.
But I mean, this is where some of this stuff probably shouldn't even be in here.
Yeah.
Like drinking fountain, these 2D objects are almost useless. If you're gonna, especially if you're gonna show a rendering, so you need to pay attention to that because
it's not 2D.
Because if you're just needing it for a floor plan, the 2D objects work fine. But if you go to render that space and you place 2D objects, nothing's going to show up and you're going to be kind of pulling your hair out trying to figure out what happened. So I'm going to do, standard domestic toilet just because I'm basically just showing you how easy it is. Yeah, sure. No, I don't want to load a tag, sorry. Wow, it's a huge bathroom. Right back here in its own little poop corner.
this massive space. And just a little.
This thing is huge.
Just leave it big, sure.
Oh, I'm gonna scoot it over a little bit.
Just a massive restroom.
Yeah, it's huge.
Walk-in restroom.
All right, so the next thing we kind of had was that was regular floor-based objects, and then you have wall-based and ceiling-based objects. And you won't actually know what they are sometimes until you've tried to click them in. And the best example I can show for that, this toilet's actually backwards in the rendering, that's weird, is if you go to load it, if I go to light fixtures, lighting fixtures, and let's flip through some of these.
That's because it was halfway decent.
Like obviously 4 lamp is going to be 4-based, but
let's say like a pendant light or even that linear 2 lamp or something.
I actually like this pendant light. So if we throw that in the model, it keeps asking me if I want to place a tag, and you don't have to place a lighting tag
unless you're trying to do construction documents.
Yeah. So if I'm over this area, you see how it's got the little circle with an X through it? I can't place that object anywhere. Like no matter what I do, it's not going to place it. And that's because the pendant light is ceiling based. Every single time it has to be ceiling based. And so there's no ceiling anywhere.
You'd have to go to a ceiling plan.
Yeah, so
there's 3D maybe.
There's a ceiling here, and you can see in 3D how when I go over the ceiling it actually does change it. But you can't really place a light in floor plan view anyway. So There's no reason why you would ever be in a 3D. I was just showing you that would change. But to get that ceiling plan view, we just go to ceiling plan. Let's place them on level 1 for right now, just because. And you actually see your ceiling grid shows up. You have your reverse stair showing that there's stairs there. That way you know where everything is. We're going to go back to component. Let's see if there's any more pendant lights. Yeah, we have different wattage pendant lights. The wattage and the voltage doesn't really matter until you render it. The higher the wattage and voltage, the brighter it is. But a lot of times, the brighter it is, the more washed out it becomes. So let's just place this generic pendant light. I'm going to use it in the bathroom, I guess. Let's put one over the toilet. Fancy pendant light.
Fancy restroom.
And
you get one of those linear ones to place it in the end.
Yeah, so let's go back and load another family. Let's go back to lighting fixtures, and let's do, yeah, maybe a linear pendant. That works. And that can be for like the generic space. So out here in the kitchen, maybe we want some pendant lights. Maybe 4 of them.
You did the same thing on level 2 as well, so it'll be up there.
So we got 4 pendant lights, 5, one in the bathroom randomly. So let's take a look at them. I'm gonna go and just hide these just for quick reference. HH is the shortcut for hide, and if you peek in, you can actually see those pendant lights. And I mean, don't forget that there's properties over here that on certain things you can actually change. So the pendant lights don't change. Kind of unfortunate that they don't, but
you
so
change the type and maybe change the length of it or something like that.
Yeah, like the pendant light, you can see how this says this is a 2 lamp, 48 inch, 120 volt. So if we pull it down, we have a 96 inch. So you know, maybe we want 2 of these to be a 96 inch.
If you want to change how far they hang down or their mounting heights.
Let's see if there's actually any of that. So if I go to edit type, I'm gonna try to set this where you can see it at the same time. It's under the 96 inch 120 volt. So if I wanted to change the height of those to drop from ceiling 2 foot instead of 1, I wouldn't have to duplicate it because I'm changing that. And unless I'm going to use it somewhere else
At a different height.
At a different height, then I need to duplicate it. So let's just say, for clarity's sake, let's say duplicate, and this one's going to be 2 foot drop. I'm just going to add an ending that lets me know that that's a 2 foot drop, that I customized it. And we'll say 2 foot and hit OK. It's going to drop that one, and all I got to do to drop this one with it is go back and select from the list. We've now created a new family. Whether or not you knew it or not,
yeah,
new family's been created. Done. So now all those are dropped 2 foot. You can do anything. You can drop all the way to 4 if you randomly wanted to. I do want to kind of throw in a little trick that we sometimes use with lighting if we don't want to add a fixture, because sometimes drawings are just too dark and you don't want to go in and change the color balance and exposure and stuff to try getting the brightness you need. Sometimes you just want fill lights.
Some ambient light in this
Yeah,
space.
they exist in Form Z as fill lights, but in here you can't really do a fill light. There's no such thing. The coolest thing to do is go to component, place a component. You're going to load everything the same. Load family, go to a lighting fixture. You're actually going to use a light called a studio light. And if you look in the picture, it's just an orb. It doesn't have any geometry in it whatsoever. Just a random light orb. So I like to load those in sometimes though. And let's go up to level 2 for these. Every time you change a level, you have to tell it to go back. But so studio lights. So if I didn't want a fixture showing, but I wanted to brighten this space up, I'd click in some lights just to show that lights did exist. And the cool thing is, if they're not too bright, you never know that these lights are there. It just gives
nice ambient light.
Yeah, it just gives some glow to the area. If you put them too close to the wall, like if I went way down here, you'll actually see the light impression on the wall. So you want to stay a few feet off the wall and just make the room light up a little bit, and that's all you're doing. These still have properties just like everything else, not as many.
their default height is about 8 feet off of whatever level they're on.
Yeah. So the light source symbol, that's a cool one.
Change the wattage.
Because you can actually, the light source symbol is how big the light glows. So right now it's a 2-foot glow, but maybe I want an 8-foot glow. So if I changed that to 8 foot and said all those studio lights need to be an 8-foot glow, it'll actually, you'll never see a change, but in your rendering there will be a bigger glow. So it's kind of confusing, but at the same time this saves a lot of time, because if you're wanting to show, say, a level 1 floor plan and you just wanted to look from, say, this back corner up toward the loft, maybe you don't want the light showing, you just want it to show that, you know, that's inhabitable.
Yeah, there would be light there.
There is light. Cool.
Or if it's like a high rise and you want that floor to have light, but you're not trying to place in a million lights everywhere. I mean, you just place a few lights on that floor and say done.
Yeah, it's a whole lot easier. And that's a trick that not many people use, and I'm not sure why they don't use it actually.
And plus, those kind of lights don't have to have a ceiling, so if you just needed some light in the space, you just place those in without having to place a ceiling and do all that stuff. So
because a lot of times your floor or roof is your ceiling, you don't want to put a ceiling in, and the studio lights are kind of a quick fix to get rid of that, or do a floor light instead. But the next kind of thing is a wall-based family.
Like a sconce light or something like that.
And yeah, there's anything can be any of these. I'm not gonna save this. So I'm gonna load a family. We'll go back to lighting fixtures just because. I mean, anything can be a wall-based. Let's see. Where's
sconce light? Uplight maybe.
Yeah, right down here. So you got sconce light, sphere, uplight, and flat round. Uplight's more generic. Let's do an uplight. So maybe in this hallway, you see, same thing happens.
Won't let you place it.
It doesn't let you place it on anything but a wall. And a curtain wall is not a wall. A curtain wall is a curtain system. It doesn't exist under wall, really. Because a wall has structural properties. A curtain system doesn't. So maybe back here, you know, we have a couple of sconce lights randomly placed. I mean, another thing you could do too is if you're placing sconce lights and you want them
outside, just at the door.
You want them to be evenly spaced, say down this wall. You could say, what's the shortcut?
Array, AR.
Yeah, AR for array. And it's what you're going to do is it's actually going to say you're going to move to second or last. I'm going to do last because I want it to be spaced in between those, and I'll show you what that does. If I say last and zoom in a little bit, and I want them down this wall, but I don't want them to go into the door, I click the center of this. It's actually cool because it shows you there's a center. And say I want it to come down to here is the last one. And then you see this little number pop up. It's saying how many of those do you want to be arrayed. So let's say I wanted 4 fixtures, and then you hit return or click off, and now I have 4 evenly spaced fixtures. It's actually really cool if you're doing really large spaces.
You could always move that last one as well, and it'll just adjust the space.
Yeah, so if I move this, I'm just hitting nudge right now. But if you look closely, every time I nudge,
it will still space them out evenly.
It's moving the lights. So it's really cool. Array can be a pain in the butt sometimes, but on the whole, it's generally a good command. That's AR for array. So I mean, that's really it with families for now until Thursday.
Yeah, so you have your wall base, you have your ceiling base, and then you have just your generic floor base families.
And you'll really start to understand what those are for when we get into Thursday's session, because that you'll really understand families through and through when we get done with that. But the next stuff we're going to talk about is how to actually edit structural properties. This is where me and Jeremy will do a little bit of changing in and out. We're going to start with walls. I'll probably show you how to edit walls really quick, and then Jeremy will show you how to edit like floors, ceilings. Actually going to give y'all a little something that we weren't expecting, and that's beam systems. If you actually want to make it look like something substantially holding something else up, you need to have a beam system in. Maybe you want to expose beams. So we're going to show you that too. And then we're going to show you how to do custom curtain wall systems as well. We kind of went over it in the 3rd webinar, but this is like questions we constantly get asked plus a new way to do it. So let's go ahead and dive into that a little bit. I'm going to probably edit all this in 3D now. because there's no real reason
Because
to
they're
be
gonna-
in floor plans.
They're going to stay in the same place, so we don't have to worry about placement. It's just a matter of selecting them and then changing their thicknesses of their other materials.
Yeah.
So you don't really need to be in a plan view to do this.
So I mean, right now everything's generic, and we could go in.
Yes, wood beams.
We could go in and say we just want this to be an exterior wall, and maybe that's all we want is a brick wall. But nah, I don't really like it. Maybe I want to do a metal wall or something, you know, something cool. So maybe that's a metal wall, and this one wouldn't be thermal, but maybe the back one's a thermal wall. Who knows? Let's just do a generic 8-inch for now, and it's what we're going to do to actually edit the structure is click the wall. We're going to go to edit type, and in edit type you have to get into the habit before you edit anything, even if you don't think you're going to use it, hit duplicate. So I'm going to say this is maybe a metal 8-inch, and that's all I have to put because it's going to be in wall, so I don't really need to show that. So metal 8-inch, maybe I will put wall, it doesn't really matter. So hit OK, and as you can see the type has changed to that type we've created. And so what we want to do is hit the structure tab. We're going to edit the structure. This is actually a really neat thing. If you go into it right now, all you see is structure 1 by category. Really boring stuff. You probably don't really care that it's in there. The things you need to take note of, on the top it says exterior side, and on the interior side. So depending on where your layers are depends on what's happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert twice 2 things. I'm going to have a core, which I'm going to call structure. Just leave it like that. The next button is actually where the materials are, and this is going to be the main mass of my wall. So maybe this is wood, or a stud layer or something like that. So in the materials I'm just going to tell it to be wood. So to do that, again, we need to duplicate down here in the bottom left, duplicate, and I'm just going to do stud layer wood. So we're on stud layer wood now. We're going to edit this. I like to say that the shading is the render appearance, and then we'll change the render appearance. So we want to replace the generic concrete with wood. And I actually like how the materials are laid out a lot better in 2011. They're way nicer. A little bit easier to find too, seems like. So wood, and it has a, what?
It might crash.
Oh, it might crash? Weird.
Yeah, sometimes my Revit crashes when I choose a different material. Let's see what happens.
Crud, we'll see. We got a bunch of yellow pine down here. That's what wood would normally be. I know that's generic, but it doesn't really matter. Up.
No.
Up. Yeah, it might crash. Revit. Alright. So let me just draw some random walls, because I need to show you that. Let's do a square. Boring square. Done. Alright, we're just going to start with this for now, and then we'll throw a roof on it in a second, because we've already wasted a little bit of time. That bothers me so bad, though.
Yeah, so we lost everything because Revit crashed, but we're back. It's going to start with generic walls here. And
Yeah, we had side context and everything. Crap.
go ahead and edit this.
God, this makes me mad. Alright, so same thing as last time. I'm just going to go to the wall. We're going to edit type. Duplicate. This time, because we know the wall's going to crap out, we'll do it a little bit different.
Or the material. You can select the material on mine, you just can't change it. Which is not the way Revit actually works, but...
Yeah, you would actually go in and create your own material and stuff. We're just going to have to not do that part.
Yeah, we'll record that separately.
So, like I was saying before, exterior sides on top, interior sides on the bottom. So, like for this one, I want to do an exterior sheathing, an interior sheathing, and then a core layer that's holding all it together, because that's what makes the most sense. And right now, though, if you look, the core boundaries are on the top and bottom, so that means that the core is going to show. And you don't want that to show. So I'm going to take this first one, move it up to get it outside the core boundary. This is going to be the exterior. And then take number 4 and move it down, and that becomes the interior side. So we can change all this with one wall, which is actually really cool. Oops, what just happened? Alright, some more stuff's going weird.
Oh shit.
What just happened? Alright, one more time.
Hey, it's not funny.
It's so weird. Just randomly keeps messing up. Alright, so back where we were. Alright, so the first one, I'm going to go ahead and say that that is a finish layer. And you don't really have to put this stuff in there. I just do it because there's no reason. Let's give that like a 3/4 inch thickness. We know we can't duplicate materials because we'll crash again.
You just can't change it like by changing it. You can't change it.
I don't even want to do it. So what are we doing? We'll do gypsum wallboard just for that one, just because that's normally what goes on there. And then for this one, we're actually just going to make it probably concrete this time. And then the bottom one is going to be the finish layer as well. I like to just distinguish finish layers 1 and 2, so I still know which one's exterior and interior. I just made a boo-boo. We don't want gypsum wallboard on the exterior side. We want to move it down.
Oh yeah.
And then we want this one, we'll move it up. The thickness we'll do maybe a 1/2 inch for the exterior. It doesn't really matter. And then the structure, we're basically creating the rest of it. So you don't have to. We could just say 6 inches. We specified that it was 8 inches, and it tells you your total thickness is 7.5 right now. So I could go in and say this is 6 3/4 just to make it 8 inch. That way we're matching whatever we've called it. For the finish side exterior, let's see if there happens to be a metal sheathing that I like. I don't know, metal roof might be cool. Put it on the outside. Let's just do a metal panel or a metal deck. Let's do that. And that's really all you got to do. There's a lot more details and stuff. You could say inserts. You want it to wrap on one of them. You kind of got to play with those to figure them out.
They start to be the way they join into other walls.
Yeah,
Like that.
it's how the pattern continues around the edges.
It's more about detailing.
So, and
but also the way you do these layers is it also shows up in plan as well. So if you have 3 different layers, if you go to your plan view and say find detail, you'll see that it has a different pattern for the brick versus the structure versus the finish.
And that's also as long as you're setting that up. See how these have surface pattern, cut pattern? Metal deck doesn't have any. So if you want it to show up in plan, you actually need the cut pattern to be something.
Say like it's aluminum.
So I could change that to aluminum. The concrete should have one. See, the cut pattern's concrete. And all these are like generic CAD things. The gypsum wallboard is sand, which I actually hate that it does that. But it differentiates between them. So now we're good to go. And we'll just say OK because we've changed what we want to. And you see the color change. So if the color changes, you know that you've actually changed it.
So you could also adjust the surface pattern. So if you wanted that to be, what is that, brick? Or
this is metal. So
you could put a pattern on that if you go back to your properties.
So if I went back into the structure where it says
Made
metal deck,
vertical lines or something,
and the surface pattern, if I wanted to actually have a surface pattern, then I could. Which one of these?
Keep going down. Yeah.
There's no vertical. There's no vertical ones yet.
Just go down. Oh no. Vertical.
Vertical. All right, so vertical. We go out, go out, go out. Now it's vertical.
Now it has that pattern on it.
Now you actually see a pattern. It's gonna render how the rendering says do it, but this is kind of just for your division's sake to show you that you've changed it. So I don't know.
And also they have that new visibility setting that'll do realistic, so it'll actually show what that pattern looks like. And
some of them are really crappy.
Very interesting. But if it was like say wood or something like that, it'll give you the picture of the wood.
I don't actually like the realistic one. I like the consistent colors ones better.
Yeah.
Because it's lighter. It doesn't put near as harsh of a tone on everything. But yeah, I mean that's how you do that. That way we change structure is how you do everything. That's how you do a floor. That's how you do the walls. That's how you do ceilings. That's how you do every last thing you edit. And change the structure how you please. So now if we went to like a level 1 plan, which wall did I edit?
You change the quality settings as well.
Yeah. you have to change down here to see the detail. You actually have to go to detail, this first little button, and say fine. So as you look around, this is concrete, but you'd have to change this
Just
to
get a bigger scale so you can tell.
Alright, so now you can see that it has 3 layers.
Zoom in some more, it'll show.
And it has the patterns in the layers.
So they're different.
So that's how you change the scale, is this button. You know, maybe 6 inches equals a foot would actually look a little bit better. Yeah.
You can see the scale.
So you can see everything. You know, here's the gypsum, the gyp board, here's the concrete, and then
Compared to
here's
just the generic wall, yeah.
Yeah, and then here's generic wall over here on the side.
It's just two lines.
Generic wall. Done. Crappy. But yeah. All right. So now let's go into beam systems and the curtain wall, the custom curtain wall stuff, real quick. And Jeremy's basically going to change. He's going to put a beam system in this.
Yeah.
Let me set it up real quick to be the
A new level for.
crap. I was going to draw it. Pushed all.
Let's go ahead and set up a roof level so we can place a roof on there, and then we'll put a beam system in there.
Yeah, we already had all this set up, but we just got to do it again real quick. So roof, I'm going to go to roof again. I'm just going to draw a roof really quick. So we've already done this, roof by footprint. It's not that hard at all. You can actually tab all these, do it all at the same time. This is going to be a crappy roof, but
That's about the slopes.
yeah.
We don't want a pitch roof, we just want
We had it nice and worked out. Crud, not that button. This one. And we're going to take off the slopes. It's just going to be a flat roof for now. We had it where it actually sloped and everything, but now it's not. But we need a roof to kind of show that we're going to expose stuff on the inside, and then we'll hide one of these walls for now. And Jeremy's going to take over from here on out with the roof system, the beam system, I mean, and then also with creating custom curtain panels and stuff.
to. Sweet. Alright, so what we're going to do here is, let's say you want to sort of expose your beams. I'm trying not to get into too much structure here, but let's just say you wanted to show, you know, the wood joist, you know, under your roof or your floor. So let's say you had, let's go here, let's go ahead and select this roof. We're going to edit it. So right now it's about 12 inches, which I think that probably includes the structure. But since we're actually going to put the structure in here, let's go ahead and make it a little bit thinner. So I'm just going to say edit type. And the same way we sort of did the floors and the walls, they all have sort of these layers. So I'm going to say structure is not going to be 1 foot, it's going to be, let's say, like 3 inches. Not even 3 inches, yeah, sure. And then I'm going to say the material is, just say it's metal roofing, or let's do some asphalt shingles. I'm actually going to change the surface pattern just so it looks more interesting. So let's go to, and once again, this doesn't render, it just sort of gives you a pattern in your shader render views. So let's go to this one. This thing might be pretty cool. We'll say OK. And 3 inches thick. Alright, so we'll say OK on there. And OK again. So now we have a nice thin roof. And if you zoom in here, you can see sort of the surface pattern. But okay, so now we have a thinner roof. Now I'm going to just put in the beam system here. So what we want to do is go to our, this is at a roof level, so let's go to our roof level in floor plan view. And we're just going to say beam system, and that'll be on your structure tab. So let's go to structure, and then let's go to beam system. This is also the same place where you can do braces, trusses, a more structural floor, some columns, some beams. But we're not going to go into all that. We're just going to do the beam system. And we're going to say these walls are just load bearing. So let's go to our beam system. And now you can sketch it out the same way you do, you know, a floor or a roof, where you just draw the outline of the shape of that beam system. So I'm just going to go to my rectangle tool here. I'm just going to sketch out along the shape of the roof. And you'll see these double lines here. There's one here and there's one here. That tells you what direction your beam is going. Now let's say you wanted the beam to go this way versus this way. You could easily go up here to your beam direction and then select the line you wanted to follow. So say you want to follow that line.
They used to not do this in the other program. In 2010 and 2009, it used to be that you couldn't select the beam direction. It just had to be the first one you drew was the direction, which was really strange, and nobody really caught on to that.
So right now, if you look at our properties to our left over here, it'll show that they're going to be fixed spacing of 6 feet and a fixed distance versus maximum spacing or fixed number or clear spacing. So we're going to do fixed distance, which sounds good, but let's do 3 feet instead of 6 feet. Just get some more in there. And then instead of this beam type of W flange, W12, let's we actually don't want that. We want something like a wood beam. We don't want W12s or a house. So what we need to do is actually load another family, but it's not going to allow us to until we finish this. So let's just finish this first, and then we'll go back and we'll change this to wood beams. So we have it drawn. We've placed which direction we want our beams to go in. Now we can just go ahead and hit the check button right here. Now if you go to 3D, we should be able to see where those beams are. As you can tell, they're actually right there at the same level as the roof. Now let's go ahead and change those. So what I'm going to do here is go to beam. I'm just going to click beam here. What that does is allow me to go and say load family, so I can load a different type of family. So I'm going to go load family, and it brings us back to that same database of families. And instead of the other categories like furniture, we're going to go actually to structural, and then we're going to go to framing, and then let's go ahead and do wood, and we're going to choose dimensional lumber.
Glulam.
Alright, let's do glulam, southern pine.
Yeah, it's going to have larger sizes as a glulam.
I'm going to say open. And then it actually has a lot of the real actual sizes of glulam. So what size do we want here?
Do like that 3x12 right there.
3x12. It's okay.
It's actually cool because it's telling you like the board footage and everything.
Yeah,
like it's nominal distance. It's actually really complex. The structural
structures.
side of it.
Yeah. There is a Revit structure, which is what
it's
they use
even
in the
more
field.
ridiculous. But
So, what we're just going to do this all kind of generic. So, all right. So we have that loaded now. Now we can go and select this beam system. We got to select the whole beam system, not just one beam. We want to select the whole system. So this one right here, click there, and then I'm going to change the type where it says beam type to the new one I just loaded, which is the glulam. Click that, hit apply, and that will change all those to the glulams. Also, what we could do here is we could select one beam. Let's say you wanted to move it over left or right. So let me select this one. Let's say we wanted to move it more towards that wall. It won't allow us to nudge it or move it unless we first unpin it. So click this little pin right here. If you look closely, it's a little pin. I'm going to click that, and now it'll actually allow us to move it into place closer to that wall. Or
yeah, these pinned objects are everywhere in Revit. That it's creating its own system. So that's curtain systems, grid systems, anything like that. It's all pinned. So if it doesn't move, if it says it can't move because it's pinned, then find the little bullet, the little pin, the little thumbtack, and uncheck it, or just click it, not uncheck it, and that way you can move the stuff where you actually need it to be. Don't let Revit tell you what to do.
yeah, it'll restrict you. It's my beam. Put it where I want to.
You can do whatever you want.
Alright, and
So I mean, it's really easy to move this stuff around once you actually know what's going on.
there's a basic beam system. And what you could also do, it has sort of that same profile shape that your floors does. So if I edit this boundary and say cut out a circle in the middle of it, it'll actually cut out a circle of beams as well. So if I place that there and say finish sketch, now when I look at it, it'll have a circle cut out. So it works the same way as say a floor, except now it's just a series of beams. So I'm not going to do that because it doesn't make any sense, but if you wanted to.
It does make sense if you're trying to take the whole building down.
If you're trying to cut out yeah, no structure going there.
Alright, so the next thing we need to go over is there's two different types of curtain wall systems besides the just placing a storefront. And basically we're going to take two of these generic walls we've placed and we're going to do two different kinds. First we're going to start with the one that in studio people kind of ask the most, and that one's we're going to start with just a regular pane of glass. We're going to draw in curtain grids, create mullions from it, something kind of simple, and then we're going to show you how you can change that curtain glass into other materials really quick.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just want to do an insert inside a curtain grid. So say if you're repeating a pattern of brick or something with the glass, make it look a little bit nicer than what it did. And then we're going to actually show you how to create what we're calling as custom windows. In one of our screencast videos, we actually show you how to create custom windows, triangular and circular shaped windows. We're actually going to do like an L-shaped window.
You create those the same way we're going to go over here. So there's sort of two different ways to go about it. There's placing a curtain wall into an existing wall, and then there's having a curtain wall and then placing, you know, a generic wall into that curtain system. So sort of two different ways of thinking about it. So what we're going to do here first is say placing a generic wall into a curtain system. So I'm just going to take this wall here, which is just a generic wall. I'm going to change it from our generic 8-inch to just a plain sheet of glass, and that type is called just curtain wall 1. So this here gives you the most freedom to do whatever you want to. So we're going to say curtain wall 1 versus exterior glazing, which actually comes with divisions, just no mullions. And storefront comes with divisions and mullions. So if you had a set sort of pattern you wanted to follow, you can start with a storefront and change spacing. Or if you had sort of a grid you wanted to follow and then place your own custom mullions, you could go with this option. But here we just want to do all completely custom. So we're just going to go with a plain sheet of glass, so curtain wall. Click that, and now all you'll see here is just a plain sheet of glass. And what we're going to do is actually place curtain grids on here and then place on mullions. And then we're going to take the shapes we created and turn them into actual generic walls. So
Yeah,
kind of
this is one of those things, like I would always use a piece of sheet glass, even if, like, okay, like, for instance, you're starting your model, use generic walls and sheet glass, just regular curtain wall 1, because you don't want to have to go back and delete everything just to redo something you could have prevented in the very beginning. So you're going to change generic walls into something later on, so why not do a generic curtain wall? And the generic version of a curtain wall is just a piece of glass.
Yeah, so you can do this two different ways. We could do it in an elevation, or we could do it in 3D. If you're trying to be more accurate and get exact heights, you probably want to do it in an elevation. So I'm just going to go to my north view right now. I'm going to go to north, elevations, and I'm going to change my view properties to fine detail, and I'm going to change my views to actually consistent colors, so you can actually tell that we're on a glass wall now. And you see how the beam showed up? If I would have changed this to just coarse detail, you actually can't even see your beams. So pay attention to your detail quality, or you won't even see half of some of the elements you've placed. So let's go ahead and change that to fine so you can see everything right now. So we have this sheet of glass. Now, in order to cut that sheet of glass up, we have to start with curtain grids. We can't place mullions on nothing. We have to first place grids, and then we can place mullions. What you can do is place it on the edges of the glass. So let's go ahead and place some mullions on the edges here. We can choose our type of mullion first on our left side over here. So let's say we wanted, so let's just do 2.5 by 5 inch. Go with that. And we're going to place these on all the corners of the glass just to start it off. And you'll see the purple little dotted line flash up whenever you're on a grid. So we're just going to place that. And now you see we can't place any more mullions in here because first we have to, of course, create the grids. So if we go back to our home tab and then go to curtain grid, let me know if I'm going too fast or whatever. But anyway, so curtain grids, click that. And now you see you have a few options here. You have all segments, which will give us one full line across and cut it completely in half, or we have one segment. Now one segment, if you have no grids there to start with, then this is just one segment. But let's say we placed this grid first, so we sort of cut it right in the center here, 10 feet, 10 feet. And then we went to one segment. It'll actually go only on one side of it versus both sides. So here you see it on the bottom side, or we can do the top side. If we do all segments, it'll just cut all the way straight through. So I'm just going to place some curtain grids on here, you know, whichever way you want to. I'm just going to place one in the center. It'll actually snap to sort of center points. So if you look at the bottom left, it actually says midpoint of curtain panel. And that's because it's actually snapping to the center of that curtain grid. So that's one thing to keep in mind. If you wanted to just make even subdivisions, it'll snap to, you know, your midpoints. It'll also snap to 2/3 or 1/3 as well. If you just slowly move across, it'll snap to 1/3. See?
Yeah, you'll notice it snaps because it kind of jumps. It's not going to tell you, hey, you're at 1/3, hey, you're at 2/3. It's not going to give you like an emblem
Well, yeah, it's not. Yeah, it'll just sort of stop, and then
The unanimous emblem for midpoint's a triangle in Revit, but it's not going to do that. It'll just, you'll get used to it. It's going to move in even distances of 1 foot at this zoom level, and then all of a sudden it'll break it up like 8, 3, and 17 out of 256, or 171 out of 256, and all of a sudden it'll snap. That's telling you you're in thirds all of a sudden.
so I'm just going to go to one segment and just start adding in some stuff here at midpoints, stuff like that. So once you've placed a curtain grid, you can also go back and edit that. So if I hit escape to go back to my modify command, I can actually select one of these grids and then change the spacing on it from say 5 feet to 3 feet. It'll bring it down. Or I can take this larger grid here and then change it to let's say 12 feet, whatever you want. So, but let me keep adding some more in here. Go to one segment. I'm just gonna put these in here. Kind of randomly doing this. Okay, so let's say you have sort of a basic makeup of how you want it to look. Now you can go back to your home tab and go to mullions, and now you can sort of place mullions on those different curve grids. So you can also do the same thing here versus segment versus the whole line. So if I do line, it'll go all the way straight across. If I do segment, it'll only do one segment versus the entire shape. So say I wanted to do that, or something like that. I want to leave that open right there. Or I can just say all grid lines and just select one and it'll do all of them. Alright, so once you've divided your glass the way you want it to, we could go in here and we could change this panel by selecting it. Once again, using your tab key, the same way we did sort of a curtain wall door, we're going to select the panel here. So if I keep hitting tab, it'll cycle through all my different options and then it'll land on curtain panels. This is a system glazed. Now what I can do here is actually select that panel and change it from just a system glazed panel to a whole nother curtain system, a stacked wall, or even just a generic, let's say we wanted a 4-inch brick wall there. So this is how you can start to bring in some custom panels into your curtain systems, which is different from actually drawing a brick wall there and then placing a curtain system. This would be sort of the opposite, where you start with the curtain system and then place in generic walls. So let's just say I wanted these to be offsetting brick or something like that. I was using the control key to select more than one. I'm going to change those to 4-inch brick, masonry. Another neat shortcut, if you have say 20 different panels here and you wanted to select all on that row, what you can do is actually right click on the curtain system and you can say select mullions on grid or on whatever, or you can say select panels on host and it'll select all your panels and just the panels, or you can tab and select one panel and then right click and then say select panels along horizontal grid. It'll select all those on that grid. So this is useful when you have like a huge curtain system and you're trying to change the panels on just one row or just one vertical row. That's how you would do that a little quicker than just tabbing through every single panel and selecting it. Alright, so we have a little bit of a different look here. We go to 3D now and see how that looks. Now we can actually go to door and just place a door inside one of these if you want to do it that way. Or if we wanted a curtain door, we could always cut this up with curtain grids until we get, you know, a 7-foot door. And just cut all of it up. Which is why you want to go to your one segment. Now I'll just cut this down to say 3 feet. Select that and say 3 feet. Then I can select that panel like we did before and then change that to say, well, I don't have any doors loaded. Crap, forgot about that. Load a door real quick. Door, hello family. Some doors, we'll say curtain wall. Let's do a double door, it's pretty nice. Open. And then we're going to select, we'll select this one beside it since it's a little bigger. And we'll change that into the new double door we just loaded, which we've done this before, so we're going pretty fast. And now we have, you know, a door with, you know, a nice accented brick wall. Now we're going to take the opposite process and actually draw a curtain wall into this sort of wall here to create, some custom shaped windows and stuff like that. So you have a wall. There's a couple different ways to do it. What we're going to do, we're going to go to our floor plan, so our level 1 floor plan. And the special thing about curtain walls is that they can actually automatically embed into any type of generic wall that's not a curtain wall. So what we can do here is, if I go to my walls and I choose down here, let's just go to a curtain wall, which is blank glass. And if I go to the properties of that wall, I go to my edit type. Oh, there it is. And I scroll down, you'll see an option right here for automatically embed. And what that does is, if you draw this wall on top of another one, instead of placing 2 walls, it'll actually just embed the one you just drew inside of the other wall. So let me do it without doing that, and then I'll show you with that. So if I don't change that option and I draw a wall on top of this one, it'll give me that warning that says the highlighted walls overlap. And that's because we have 2 walls in the exact same place. If I go to 3D, you can't even see it because it's actually inside that wall. There it is right there. And what we want to do, let me go ahead and delete that. Let's go back to our level 1 floor plan. What we want to do is tell that glass wall we just created to actually automatically embed. And then when I say that, say OK. And now I draw this wall here. You see there's no warning because it automatically embeds that wall within that one. So if I go to 3D now, you see it just places it in there without any problems. Now if I actually take that wall and I edit its shape, so I select that glass wall we just placed, and I say edit profile, I can change this profile to whatever I want to. So what I can do is I can bring this down here, and I'm going to say remove constraints because it wants to constrain to your roof and your floor. I'll say remove constraints, so we can do whatever we want to here. Remove that constraint too. And now I say finish. Now it becomes just a huge window. And what you can also do is create whatever shape you want to. So let's say I just delete this whole profile I just created and I put in, a circle here, and maybe a pentagon here, whatever this is, octagon, and my own custom shape, here. As long as they're closed loops, it should be fine. And then I say finish. What it does is it automatically embeds that glass wall into that generic wall. And I should still be able to change this wall to say a different type. So I want it to be brick now, or some intense wall. It'll still automatically embed those in there with no kind of warnings or problems. So that's 2 different ways of doing it. And now that you have that glass wall there, you can go and you can say curtain grid. You can sort of cut this up. Let's go 1 segment, and I can say I want this one to have, whatever. I want another one here. And then I can put mullions on there. Then I can even just put mullions around this shape right here if I wanted to, on just the edges. And I can take this mullion, which is pretty retarded, and delete it, unpin it, and then delete it. There we go. And now we have custom windows along this face here. So that's a quick way to do custom shaped windows without having to load a certain window or edit a window family. Or if you just wanted, just a glass, little looking glass, outside of an office wall or something like that, you can just place it in there using that automatically embed command. So,
I mean, the only thing we were going to do next was railings. But when we lost that file, it's kind of a little bit useless to go back and draw stairs now. But I've already made the PowerPoint to show you how to create custom railings and stuff like that. So because we're running out of time, we don't want to have Cat get kicked out. We're probably just going to go ahead and end. And then there's 3 more PowerPoints we're going to give y'all before this is all said and done. Does anybody have any questions right now about all this? I know it was kind of a botched session because
It may have went kind of quickly too, so
kind of messed up on the whole forgetting that it crashes when you do a material thing. Yeah, so we made mistakes too. Weird. All I'd say is remind everybody that we do give money now to y'all for y'all to recommend these webinars to other people. So let me know if you're talking to somebody, and if they pay me, then you have cash coming your way, and I'll give you cash money for it. I won't write you a check or anything. It'll be greenbacks. And yeah, tell as many people as you can. There's one question right now. It says, can we put glass in the roof easily?
Well, it depends what your definition of easily is, I guess. It's easy to say cut a shape out of this roof. So let's say we wanted to have, say, an opening here. We can just go ahead and edit that roof, select it, edit footprint. And the same way we do floors, we can just cut out a shape right there. So let's say we wanted the shape to be in this oval or whatever.
Yeah, it's not as easy as the wall.
It's not as easy as the wall, because
but it's still relatively easy.
You can't place a wall in the roof. I mean,
you can't place the glass panel in the roof. You can't automatically embed a glass panel like that.
But you can open it up like that, and then what you can do is create another roof that actually is glass.
Yeah.
So we'll just go in and we'll just say, go back to our roof plan, and we'll just say roof, home. The same way we edited, our walls and our floors and changed the materials, we do the same thing here. We'll just say roof, we'll say edit type, or create a new one. Okay. Duplicate it, sorry. We'll call it glass roof. Hit OK. We'll go to our structure. Instead of it being asphalt, we'll say it's glass. And we'll say OK. And we'll say OK. And we'll say OK again. And then we'll draw in that shape. We'll just pick lines here and pick the same lines that this one's created off of. And then we'll say finish sketch. And then we'll go to 3D. And now you have glass in the roof.
Yeah, so it's not exactly the same, but you're doing glass. Sometimes I don't even put glass in it. I just make the openings and leave it.
I mean, technically you can.
Because I never really show an above view like that, to where it's detailed to the point that I need to show detail on the glass. But yeah, I mean, it's not as easy, but it's still easy.
It's the same difference as up here. You wouldn't make a wall and tell it to be glass. You would just use a curtain window or curtain glass wall. Versus roofs, there is no curtain glass. Well, there is, but if you just wanted a small hole in it, then that's the way you would do that.
All right. So the last thing I wanted to show again, sent out the email about the kind of semi-competition we're running. I would, you don't have to tell each other you're working on it, but I would like to know who is working on it. So if you would, I'm going to resend this email to everybody, and if you're going to work on it, send me an email back that says, hey, yeah, I'm interested, I'm going to work on it, thanks, whatever, or just come back and say, yeah, something simple. And again, if you have any questions, go to the forum on our site. You'll see categories, architecture, just design related categories, and then webinars. Webinars is for the people that paid for these sessions only. And if you see, I mean, there's already 6 posts in this one, 2 posts in this one, so people are working on this already. You see this one says Kevin White. He's already working on this project for the competition, so he's got a jump start on y'all a little bit, I think.
It's really to help you guys, because you need to actually practice and try to do these things and then have problems, because if you don't ever try it, you'll never have problems, and you won't find out until you start in studio. You're like, crap, I don't know how to do anything anymore.
Yeah, and all I ask is that if you go in here and say, okay, you got a Revit question, well, let's see what the Revit question is. You'll have to create a username and password, which is cool. You can upload your own picture. We're actually creating a whole community area, which is like a social network for architecture students a little bit. It's not like Facebook. It's not going to take over your life, but if you actually want to know who somebody is, it'll be able to show you who they are. And you can go in and there's going to be more things down here that says, post a topic or something. Go ahead and post the topic. The only thing I ask is that if you have a question pertaining to something you're doing, is take a screenshot, if you can, and upload the image with the post or the question. That way I don't have to, like with this one, we can go ahead and open it, and it said he's got a question, video 4 made reference point, it showed up purple, and I don't know what he's talking about. So I asked him to attach a screenshot, and then I'll be able to answer the question, no problem. So just so I don't have to keep saying this 100 times, just go ahead and attach that image.
Yeah, attach any screenshots you have.
And that'd be really sweet. So Thursday, I hope everybody can come to Thursdays, because you're definitely going to want to ask questions on Thursday, and you definitely should be here if you have those questions.
Yeah, this is taking that uniqueness a step further, and customization a lot further.
Like, we're going to start off with baby steps
With
and take like this door and edit this door to look better. But then we're going to blow it completely out of proportion and say if we want to create our own door, what to do. And I'm going to show you the steps I take that kind of make the most sense. And then eventually, when you get used to creating families, you can do whatever the heck you want to. I mean, literally whatever you want to.
Pretty sweet little place.
So, yeah, that's it. If anybody has any questions, speak now or forever hold your peace. Or go to the forum and tell everybody about the book. In about a week, it'll refuse to be $37.79 or whatever it is on Amazon. We don't get anything. I mean, the authors do. The 3 main authors will get money for y'all buying it. But that's a really good deal, especially considering I have the last 3 of books of those, and I've had to pay over $50 for every single one of them.
It's definitely a really good reference.
So, and it's huge. It's a book and a half, really. And it'll prepare you if you want to do Revit certification or anything, which is great. So, any question?
Well, it's getting late and stuff.
Yeah, if not, we're going to kind of re-edit this video. I'm going to send out the email right now as we're speaking. And hopefully everybody comes on Thursday. And hopefully people can, get some other people to buy these, so you can make some cash money for yourself. I really want to get other students involved too, like Georgia Tech and SCAD. So yeah, you can get a picture of us with you for your tattoo. Sweet. My face won't show up on you though, because I'm just as pale. So Jeremy will show up amazing though.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
That'd be sweet. So anyway, all right, the email's being sent to everybody. Check it, love it, read it, respond to it. Tell me if you don't get it too. All right. So that's everything. Everybody take it easy. Don't be too cheesy.